The gatherings which are held in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are sacred and they have a special virtue. Gatherings which are only held for the sake of Allah. We have no other purpose whatsoever today. We are only here because we believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Is that correct? There's no other reason to leave aside your occupations, to leave your offices, to leave your busy lives behind, the fast lane, and to come here to take time out, to take the sunnah ghusl, to put on the sunnah clothing if you have something close to the sunnah, to apply perfume, to enter into the masjid with the right foot, to join the saf and sit facing the qibla. There is no other purpose, nothing else to gain. We've come to have an audience with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that we can meet Him, with Him happy with us and us happy with Him in the life after this life. That's the reason we're here. So we might as well make the most of this then, because that life will reflect this life. This life will come to an end except the best parts of it. وَالْبَاقِيَاتُ الصَّالِحَاتُ خَيْرٌ عِنْدَ رَبِّكَ ثَوَابًا وَخَيْرٌ أَمَلًا. The good actions that you do in this dunya and they remain, they are better as a foundation for reward and expectation and hope in the hereafter. So these a'mal, these seeds which you plant for the hereafter, these are the ones which do build the afterlife. You know, so many of you, if I even ask you to raise your hands, I'm sure there'd be perhaps a quarter, a third, even half of you work from home these days. Yes or no? Nobody? Work from home, yes? So you know the power of just sitting in front of a screen and touching a few keys. You can apply your skill and your knowledge in so many different sectors. If you're a lawyer or an accountant or an engineer, or even in some branches of medicine or science, you're doing your research. Students as well. It's the exam season. Allah grant all the students success in their exams. At secondary school level, at university level. And in the exam of this life as well. Yes? So, the work that you're doing, it's having an impact. You're being paid for this work. So you're working at your keyboard and you're getting paid at the end of the month on payday, mashallah. Your notification comes up, happy payday. So basically, you see a tangible impact. You make decisions sitting at your desk, in your house, in the comfort of your living room. And those decisions affect the whole organization. Yes or no? You order items for the business and for yourself. You sell items online. Yep. Can we relate to this? Is my example not good enough? Okay, so now in exactly the same way, the subtle things we do in this dunya as well, the movement of the lips and the tongue, the actions of the heart, they have a direct impact on the scales on the day of Qiyamah, on the book of deeds, the a'mal which are being written by the angel on your right side, on the preparation of your qabr, on the status of your status and your rank in Jannah. This is all being influenced and impacted in real time because of the decisions that you take. The very moments that you're spending now, every moment, with the angels present at the entrances of the masajid on Jumu'ah, recording who's coming in at what time. You're getting clocked in. The reward is being written in proportion. So the Jumu'ah is a gathering which is fard in Islam for men. And similarly, to come to my second point for today, the annual 1:58 p.m. international fard gathering is the gathering of Hajj. The gathering of Hajj. And despite everything, people are constantly discussing the expenses of Hajj. Yes, it's become much more expensive than it may have been some years ago. Fine. But you don't have to go through jungles and deserts and camp with your provisions with you, with that extra baggage and luggage. You don't have to pitch tents and find water and light campfires. This was still happening 100 years ago. You don't have to do that anymore. It doesn't take months to do Hajj. You don't have to set sail from one port through cold and wet climates and then catch fish which Allah has made halal for the muhrim, because there's nothing left to eat in your provision on the ship. Eating sailor's tack, what is it? Hardtack, ship biscuits. You don't have to do that anymore. You don't have to risk being capsized by a storm and potentially sinking on the way to Hajj. When you say your salam and farewell to your family and folks, you have confidence more than you might have had generations ago that inshallah you'll return. And you don't have to take leave from everybody and give the provisions to your family for 6 months or 5 or 7 or 1 year, because you can do your Hajj in 2-3 weeks. So what of the 5,000-7,000? I'm sure that most of you have cars worth more than that, yes or no? If you don't buy a new phone, you buy a basic phone for the next 2-3 years, a refurbished phone, or keep the same one, you will save 2,000-3,000 pounds. MashaAllah. Yes or no? Yes or no? Subhanallah. How much is a wedding reception these days? How much is a wedding reception? I'd be kidding if I said it's under 50,000 pounds for most people. And I'm talking about people who are apparently struggling. It's usually more than that. People even take loans for this. 100,000 pounds. Just blow it in one day. It's just a public display. You ask the groom, how much you're giving to your wife for her mahar? He says 100 pounds. Subhanallah. What about a month's wages? He doesn't think it's important. She doesn't. Our culture's become such. It's not an honor anymore. I would say a year's wages. Then he wouldn't let her go so soon, would he? He'd appreciate her. Because it costs, right? And that's not her value. This is a gift for her, which the Sharia from Allah, it's in the Quran, the Rasul of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave to his wives and his daughter Fatima. Do you know that Ali karamallahu wajhah, it's tangent, he didn't have enough to give Fatima. So he came to Uthman to sell his shield, to sell his armor. He didn't have enough to pay mahar to the Prophet's daughter. Rasulullah didn't say you don't have to give the mahar. He didn't say that. So he sold his shield, his armor to Uthman. Uthman bought it. He gave him a good price for it. And as he was leaving, he gave him the armor back as well as gift. So you are meant to sweat a little bit to get married. There should be some commitment from the men. Anyway, back to our subject. My point was that we spend so much on our marriages and on other, mashallah. I'm sure that many of you like to, even though Glasgow has its own, mashallah, it's on the map now for its food. How many of you drive down to the Curry Mile in the northwest of England just for, bash on Eid night or something? How much does that cost you? And then, mashallah, your friends put all the bill of that restaurant meal onto your head. Ever happened to you? Subhanallah, am I not relevant? Can you not realize what I'm saying? So I'm just going to close with this. We're doing overtime. My point is to spend your 5,000-7,000 pounds on a one-off Hajj to fill the obligation and farida of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is an honor and a privilege, and you can do it safely within 2-3 weeks. And your money will come back to you as well, because one of the virtues of Hajj and Umrah is that it removes poverty. So, if Hajj is fard on you and you haven't done it yet and you have the means, then do it. Take the plunge and fulfill this obligation and take the opportunity of having the honor of visiting the house of Allah and fulfilling this obligation. Don't delay it. Man arad al-hajja falyu'ajjil. Whoever intends Hajj should make haste. Now just finish with this. Take it easy as well. Just fulfill your obligations. You don't have to sweat it out. In Mina Muzdalifah, read your salah on time according to the rules and engage in dhikr and just stay relaxed. Reserve your energy. MashaAllah. Air-conditioned tents and even fast food now. So what's the complaint? So if you haven't done Hajj, let's do it this year. Allah grant it to us all, inshallah.